Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Jess and I'm so glad that you guys are joining me because we are going to be doing a flip through of my reading journal. For my new viewers, welcome. My returning viewers, welcome back. I'm really excited about this. So before I jump into the reading journal, I'm going to kind of share with you how I built this. And I do have a video where I set up my reading journal. So first of all, the cover and the discs come from the Happy Planner. This cover specifically was from a Happy Notes. These discs were from, most of them were from a bookish planner from 2020. I am using a calendar in here that is from the Happy Planner, but all of the other pages I have created myself. I do have a 10% off discount code because these are available on Etsy. Check the description. The code is down there if you guys want to support me and purchase these yourself. Truly appreciate your support. But yeah, use that 10% off code. Grab what you want. And then I do have, I've used a couple stickers in here. They come from JoJo Apple Prints. So we have these little Kindle stickers, these audiobook stickers, and these physical book stickers. Now, in terms of February reading, I will admit I did really bad with January reading in terms of my TBR. So my TBR for February, I'm keeping it at kind of as I go sort of thing. So because it's February 11th, I've already read Mother Daughter Murder Night for this month. And my next physical book is It's a Date Again by Geneva Rose. I don't yet know what's going to be my physical book after this, but I will decide. I actually have this really fun way of deciding what my next physical TBR is going to be. So the shop, and I will link them down below, but it is Peanut Butter Taco Shop. She has these roll your read. So you can purchase a set where you get the dice, you get the cards, and then you get stickers. And basically you... let's pick a random card. Let's pick this one. And then I'm going to roll. So it's 6. So from here, I would choose a book that is friendship focused. So I thought that was fun. I haven't used it yet. This book right here is actually, both of the books actually were for book club. But yeah, this will definitely be used for my next TBR read. All right, let's jump into my reading journal. So we start with my perpetual calendar. Perpetual calendar I have been using for when I have book club dates. I have a book rating scale. This is kind of what I've been using for how I rate my books. So 1 star usually is going to mean I did not finish it. 2 stars is it was okay, but I'm not going to recommend it to people. 3 stars is it was good. I will recommend, but it's usually a recommendation where I will tell them, this is how I rated it. It's good enough to recommend, but it's not my favorite book. 4 stars is something I really enjoyed, a top book. 4 stars also means that I'm not going to reread it. Now, 5 stars means that it's an absolute favorite, completely obsessed, and I will reread. And I also hardly ever reread. Usually it's just audiobooks I will reread as a physical. I do have a spice rating scale. I haven't determined yet how I'm going to do this. I don't normally rate my spice books. Mainly just because I don't give it that much thought, but I thought it was cute to put together. I have my yearly reading challenge. Now, I have read up to this date 17 books for the year. January was 13. My goal is, I think I set my goal at 100. And then after that, I just see how many that I end up reading. January wrap up. I will admit, I need to actually go back in and count and add up all of the pages read. I want to create a stats page for each month. That's one of my to-do lists. What's on my Etsy to-do list for this month is to create a stats page where I can really track by genre, time listened for audiobooks, pages read for Kindle and physical books, but then also do like diversity stats. So I want to do like a really extensive stats page, but I haven't had a chance to create that. And then I still need to fill out like my little book of the month. I'm trying to decide, and the reason why I haven't done this yet is I'm trying to decide how I want to use this. Do I want to kind of put in like little notes about the page? Do I want to just use it for the title? So that once I kind of figure out how I do that, I'll go back and fill that in. So I have 12 months worth of wrap-up pages. I actually just realized I did not do my yearly review. So let's go ahead and do that now. So my yearly review is where I basically put in how many books that I read each month. One thing I'm doing is I'm keeping this little stats card for the month. So this is actually going to help me out. So we had 13 books total. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had 4 Kindle. I had 2 physical. And then we had 7 audio. So each little month for the yearly review, I write down how many physical I read, how many Kindle I read, and how many audio that I read. I forgot that my pen that I used smears horribly. But yeah, so then that way it's just a fun way to be able to track it during each month. I have this available also in a version that only has Kindle and physical for those who do not do audio. And then we have my top book of 2024, and this is basically a bracket system. So my top book for January was Butcher and Blackbird. And when I put the top book, that is going to be pulled from the book of the month. So I'm keeping those the same thing. Yeah, Butcher and Blackbird was an absolutely phenomenal book. It is actually a book that I read the Kindle version, and then I went back and I purchased this from Pango Books, actually, because I plan on going in and like rereading and annotating, and I don't normally reread Kindle books, but this one I don't know what it is. I will say this is one easy 5-star read, but I will highly recommend that if you read it, please read the content warnings first. There's a whole long list of content warnings. I'm going to see. Yes, like I'm almost positive. Yeah. So she has a whole bunch of content and trigger warnings. I will say that I thought she did a really good job writing them, that I expected it to be a lot worse. And I also noticed that she has a Spotify playlist. I don't think that the Kindle version had that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so Butcher and Blackbird, like I said, phenomenal. Highly recommend. It is a trilogy, so there's a book coming out in June for the second one, and then a book coming out in 2025. Read through the content warnings before you purchase the book, though. All right, so let's jump into my calendar. So what I did for my calendar is I have purple for when I started the book. Blue is if I finished it all in one day, and then the orange is when I finished it. So it's fun. I don't think I'm going to be decorating the monthlies, honestly. I think I'm just going to kind of keep them super functional. I love having a really functional reading journal, and to me, it's not always about the decoration. But then I have my little stats page, and again, this is where I used the stickers from JoJo Apple Prints. I also tracked how many books that I purchased, how many books that I sold, how many books that I did not finish, because I don't track them on the calendar, and how many books that I donated to a free little library. Usually when I do books sold, it's because I sold it on Pango. I will say for January for my no spend or my low spend. I am not counting Pango, and I'm not counting Book of the Month, and I'm not counting Aardvark as long as I use credits. If I buy any extra, then it will count. And then I have February already started. I've already purchased 6 books for February. And I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of flexibility, and I will explain why for the low spend. But like I purchased 3 books on a girl's day, and then I purchased 3 books from Book of the Month and Aardvark, but all of them I used credits. Those credits were like from months prior. Okay, so let's go on. So now we have my books read bookshelf. So each page comes with 50 books. And the way that I have it set up is I have only one of them with a header. So the back does not have a header. And then there's a page where I actually trimmed it. So then that way it looks like it looks like it has a header until you go to turn the page. I just love it. It makes me happy. So for my color coding, I have purple is 5-star, blue is 4-star, pink is 3-star, orange is 2-star, and then brown is 1-star DNF. Just because I probably will end up rating something 1-star, or like there's a chance of me rating something 1-star, even though I did not, even if I did finish it. But I'm not going to be finishing like I'm not going to be tracking the DNFs on this. I am tracking DNFs elsewhere. Okay, so then I have my monthly ARCs page. So ARCs are advanced reader copies. Most of these I get from NetGalley. So I have been putting the ARCs that I have publishing each month, and then I'm coloring them in. So for here, there was 2 ARCs that I actually did not finish. I really struggled with the books, did not enjoy them at all. So I am tracking them there. I have 1 more that I need to finish for February, then only 3 for March, which is nice because I have 9 for January. 1 of them I've already read. So I'm trying not to, I don't want to fill all this up. I don't want to have this many ARCs in 1 month because can be a little tight reading. My goal is to kind of keep it between 3 to 5 each month. And then I have up until August, where I only have 1 book for August so far, and then 4 for July. Then I have my A to Z challenge. So stack of books on each side, 13 on each side, and then the letter. So I just been putting in, and what I've been doing for this is I'm putting in a 5-star book that corresponds with that letter. And then we go to my monthly TBR. So and this is kind of what I was referring to earlier, where for February, I'm just kind of picking my TBR as I go. So January, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 7 books picked out on my TBR. I read a whopping 3 of them. So I have gone ahead. I had to go back and double check. So for instance, Mother, Daughter, Murder Night. I did not read it in January, so I went ahead and put it in February. And the other ones, I'm going to have to kind of see when I'm going to end up reading those. And I will eventually. One of them is a Christmas book, so I may read that in July, but I'm not filling it in yet. I'm basically filling it in as I pick the book. And sometimes I pick the book a couple weeks in advance, or a week in advance, a few days in advance. So I will go ahead and put it on the TBR at that time. Okay. Oh, and I'm not necessarily putting advanced reader copies on the ARC. Just because, or on the TBR. I'm not putting advanced reader copies on my TBR. I am, though, putting them on the monthly ARC. So like I mentioned, I have 1 more book that I need to read for February. And I need to kind of figure out, or I need to go ahead and put on my March books And then I started actually reading one from April. So I need to go ahead and fill out February, which I will probably do sometime tonight or this week. Oh, but these, my monthly arc and my monthly TBR, I basically have 3 months on each page. So then that way, this one I was able to double print, and it's just a nice little flip, like a little Dutch door style. 24 books in 24. So these are my must read on my TBR. I have books starting to be picked out, and I've started kind of building a project in Canva so I can be able to print them out. But I'm really slacking on picking. So I don't know how much I'm going to be doing with these, but I just love the idea of the little bookshelves. And then my create your own bingo. So I have a clear your shelves bingo for January through March. And basically after I'm done reading a physical book that is on my like actual bookshelves, I'm printing out the cover and I'm placing it in the boxes. So once I read this one, then that picture will go right there. And then we go to Bookopoly. So Bookopoly is something that myself and Plan with M do. This is our 2nd year of it. We have our Bookopoly log, and this both of us have linked in our highlights on Instagram. So check my Instagram link down below. But I have the Bookopoly log linked in Canva and the board, so you can be able just to easily print these out. I actually use corresponding tabs, so then that way I can be able to cover them up as I fill them in. And I really like that. And then we go to my trackers. So my book club reads, I'm basically kind of filling in the book that we are reading, the Zoom date, and then I'm rating it. And then on the back, I have my bookshelf. So I need to go ahead, because it's a date again is for the traveling book club. So I need to go ahead and fill that in. And I need to figure out what our February book is. I maybe forgot. And then we have this one. So I basically have 3. I have a 4th one in there. This is more for like buddy reads for one of my book club groups. We haven't done any yet though. And then I have my genre in pixels. So basically I have 8 genres color coded. And as I finish that book, I am marking it appropriately because I like to see which genres do I tend to read the most. As you see, romance. I read a lot of romance books. So for January, we read 1 thriller. We read 8 romance. I read 1 historical fiction, 1 fantasy, and 1 young adult. And so far in February, I've read 2 romance, 1 thriller, and 1 mystery. And then my time reading in pixels. Oh, and by the way, I started using the dot markers for all of these, and then I realized that the dot markers tend to bleed through a lot. So I actually switched to the mild liners, which I prefer the mild liners. So the time reading in pixels, this is basically where I track like usually how long that I read. So yellow is I only read up to an hour that day. Green is I read between 1 to 2 hours. And then purple is 2 hours plus. The purple is going to be usually when I'm either doing like a ton of reading that day. Like maybe I'm just taking a day off and I'm just literally sitting down and doing nothing but reading books. Or I'm listening to an audiobook. So you see, I do have a lot of purple. I actually have more than what I expected of where I only read up to an hour, especially in February. And then we have some green splattered in there. And then we have my daily reading. So this is just basically using a little sticker from JoJo Apple Prints, where I'm just basically tracking the days that I'm reading a certain format. So you can see how often that I read a physical book in January. This is my Kindle book in January, and then so far in February. What's really interesting is that like from the 3rd through the 9th, I've hardly touched Kindle, but a lot of it was either because I was doing audiobooks or I was doing physical books. My poor Kindle has not been touched very much this month. And then my low spend tracker. So my goal is to lower the books that I am purchasing. So the rules that I set for January and February, I'm basically kind of like doing the same rules for a 2-month period and then evaluating. So the rules for January and February: 1 book up to $20 a month. The money not spent will roll over. If more than 1 book is purchased, additional will be saved for December. So I can kind of have like an advent calendar sort of thing in December. I don't know how well, but I'm really following these rules. So I bought 2 ebooks on the 10th. I haven't even read them yet. But I do have $7 left, and that will go into a fund because I can be able to roll it over. In February, I did have a day where I had a girls' day. So, of course, we went to Barnes & Noble. So I did consider that day to be exempt. I don't know if I'm going to be exempting those days in the future. So I will probably kind of like evaluate my rules for March and April. But I mean, I am proud of myself because if you don't count the aardvark, if you don't count the book of the month, if you don't count the Pango, I'm spending a lot less. Like, I'm not doing impulse purchases. I think though, March and April, I will count Pango books because even though I'm spending money that I have earned on books that I've sold, I'm still bringing books onto my shelf. So again, evaluate the rules for March and April, but I'd like to see that I'm not doing impulse purchases as much in the stores. And then we go to this reading tracker. So this reading tracker is kind of like little spreadsheet format that I will put the format of the book, the title, the author, the dates that I read it, and then the rating. And what I did find really interesting is I still have a physical book that I started in January and I still have to finish it. So that will, I probably need to kind of like focus on that for February. And then I do have a Kindle book that I started reading February 1st and I just haven't picked it back up again. So I like seeing that, but that's also going to drive me crazy because I need to finish those. Then I have my ARC tracker. So basically, this is kind of what I'm using because I want to track like all of the advanced reader copies that I read each month. So I have the publishing date, the title, the author, check it once I've read it, and then check it once I have left a review on Goodreads and on NetGalley. And this is where I am marking if I do not finish it. And then that's where I also put in like the 1 star as well. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's cute. And then library holds. This is actually one that I want to change. I want to remove the rating from this one and I want to do a money saved. So, and I honestly don't know how often I'm going to be doing library holds since I have physical books already. Like, I feel like most books that I get from the library are probably going to be ebooks or they're going to be audiobooks, and I'm not going to be putting them on here. But yeah, so I think I'm going to update this, remove the rating, change it to money saved, and it just may not be something that I update very often. Then we have my books rating page. This one makes me like really, really, really happy. So first of all, the washi that I'm using is this Gold Star washi from Archer and Olive. This came from a subscription box. But these pages, I have a little photo of the cover. I have the title, the author, the format, and the dates that I read it. And then I have my star rating using the washi. So I have a few pages of those. Probably like once I get down to just one more page, I will have to print a few more out, but yeah, I don't know. I love flipping through this. Like, I really love being able to see the book with the cover and everything. Like, I never expected that I would actually use these pages, but now that I'm using them, I'm like, I really like them. And that's where we come to the end of it. I do have like other pages back here, but it's just really kind of extra pages. So this is another version of the books read for somebody who maybe doesn't want like a continuous bookshelf, but you want to actually track it per month. Somebody who wants a monthly TBR that's smaller stacks. I have it both as a, like, oh yeah, I remember what it was. So the way that I set up my pages for Etsy is you can either print it double-sided or you can print it single-sided, whatever you want. And then it's just extra blank pages in here. And then I have my monthly pages, my monthly sticker pages for my calendar. But yeah, there we go. Love it. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions about this. Like I mentioned, check the description below. I will have a discount code if you want to purchase and support my Etsy shop. I have all of these pages in there. Not the Bookopoly and not the monthly calendars. I will come out with like a monthly calendar eventually, but I don't know when that's going to be. All right, that's all. But yeah, so we will catch up next time that I'm working in my reading journal, or next time I do a flip through. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thumbs up, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy the next video.